This is a conversation about what it means to inherit a legacy, but also what it takes to earn it. Marie-Pierre Germain grew up immersed in hospitality. I talked to her about succession, family independence, and the responsibility of growing a brand without sanding down its personality. We get into why Germain Hotels has stayed proudly Canadian and independent, and why culture matters more than standards, and why the company continues to place so much emphasis on local talent, thoughtful design, sustainability, and genuine human connection. Today, as co-president of Germain Hotels, she's helping lead one of Canada's most distinctive independent hotel groups into the next chapter, with 20 hotels, 15 restaurants, 3 banners, and a long-awaited Vancouver opening on the horizon. Here's Marie-Pierre Germain, co-president of Germain Hotels on the Turndown. Marie-Pierre, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Welcome to the Turndown.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Excellent, excellent. I want to kick us off with our standard opening question, which is what keeps you up at night these days?
I've had the opportunity to listen to a few of your episodes, which, by the way, are great. And many of the things that were brought up, when we talk about loyalty programs or customer service or artificial intelligence, there are a lot of these things that do keep me up at night, to be honest. The fast pace at which everything is going is, it's hard to keep track, and it's hard to stay ahead of the train. So that's a daily challenge, I want to say, but something more on a personal note that sometimes keep me up at night are my kids.
Of which you have two?
Three. I have
three.
Mm.
How old are they, if I may ask?
Yeah, so 15 is the eldest, after is 11, and then I have a 4-year-old. So I have a lot of reasons to stay up sometimes.
We should catch up on and compare notes. I have a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old. So you're a little bit ahead of me. Maybe you have some pointers for me.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I mean, congratulations. You're approaching, or you are on a 1-year anniversary. You just became co-president with your brother, Hugo?
My cousin. My cousin, yes. We did kind of grow up together as siblings, but he's got his own siblings and I'm the only child. But yeah, we're cousins and we grew up very close to, both families were very close growing up.
So I guess the fact that you've become co-president seems to have not kept you up at night these days. It seems to, be okay. How was year one?
It's funny you mentioned that because it's been a process. Year one has been amazing and extremely exciting. The business is going well, in case you were wondering. So we came into our co-president roles just about a year ago on June 10th. And it's something that we have been planning for many, many months, if not to say years. And so the day that we announced our new roles, I actually had been planning this for many months, and I actually forgot to tell my kids that was happening. So sometimes you're really focused on a task, and it's what it felt like. But and the company has been doing really well. It continues to be doing well. So we were not coming into this role thinking we needed to change everything. And all this to say, it's been a great transition. Our parents were at the helm of the company. They co-funded the company almost 40 years ago. So to be into that mode of slowly letting go and us taking over, and it's a dance you learn to do together, so that running a family business really has some particular, not challenges, but emotions you have to deal with. And this is something that we recognize and that we really embrace. Working together as a family is a privilege. So no, it's been a great first year.
That's amazing. You mentioned that business is going well. I guess from all indicators, Canada as a destination seems to be doing well. It's on fire. Record occupancy, record ADRs. Is that what you're seeing?
It's what we're seeing. I think there are some cities that are doing better than others. Like, we are lucky that our portfolio takes us from Calgary all the way to St. John's in Newfoundland. So, and soon Vancouver. So we can talk about that later, but finally soon Vancouver. So there are some cities that are performing better, but I think every indicator, when you look at economic, from an economic perspective and whatever is happening on a global standpoint it's worrying all of us. So we keep watching, but in the business, all of the indicators are doing really well. So again, I think we've been marqué au fer with what happened. I don't know how you would say that in English, but whatever the years of 2020 brought was a bit left a big mark, if I can say it like this. So we're still, that leaves us more prepared to be on our toes, and watch the indicators and make sure that the companies we're working with are also doing well.
I want to go back to you becoming co-president and how that happened. I mean, it's a family business. At some point, you must have had this, I don't know, dining table conversation. I guess question number one, how do you decide to join a family business? You could have probably taken any career. So that's sort of number one. And then second, the more important question, how do you, and when do you decide to pick sort of the, to retire your parents and become the helm, become the chef, if you will, boss. I don't know what the correct expression is. The leader of this family business.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question, because I don't think there was one day and I can speak from my experience, one day you can have you go on the show and ask him, because he's got a complete different approach to working with the family. So I think he knew much earlier on that that's what he wanted to do. I kind of took the path that was less chosen. I had grown up in this business when I was very young. I had seen my mother work really hard, and it's something I was at the first on the sidelines, really watching the company grow. So when the time came to decide where I wanted to go pursue my studies, I actually went to something completely different and studied engineering. And at that point, I thought, okay, well, I don't really know what I want to do. And again, like working in the family, we had two hotels at that point, 3 hotels, 2 in Quebec City, 1 in Montreal. And I didn't think that there would be room for me at that point in the business. So I chose mechanical engineering. And my thinking behind this was that, well, at least now I'm going to know how my car works. So you can see where the strategic thinking went. And it's only once I finished with my engineering degree that we had opened the hotel in Toronto. And slowly we had started working to do a hotel in Calgary. Only then that I thought, oh, maybe with my background, there would be room for me in the business. And that's when I started to work on the project in Calgary, really working on designing the space, planning the project. And in Calgary, we have 40 residences. We have 100,000 square foot of office space. It's a complete different project. It was our first project in the West, but very different, and a big investment for our family. So obviously really motivating to work on that project from all of the different perspectives. But then again, before I joined the company, I still graduated with my engineering degree and thought, I'm not really sure. So actually, I started to take this yoga class, and I really enjoy yoga. So I actually went to see my mom and said, I think I would like to become a yoga teacher. So I did that too.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was very open. I thank her today for really seeing who I was through this whole process, and I think this is something really important in a family business, is never to impose anything on the kids. I think it has the complete opposite reaction when you impose your choices on the kids. So I'm grateful that I was able to make my own decisions, and at some point said, oh, I think there would be room for me. Maybe if I could bring this to the table, that was my path anyway. So, and I would kind of do the same again if I had to choose.
So let me get this straight so that I understand. You come to your mom and said, I want to become a yoga teacher. Instead of dissuading you and say, not sure this is a great idea, she encourages you and basically supports you and say, sure, let's do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
And then even though you were already working in the family's business, you did this path.
Yeah.
Then,
At that point, it was kind of a student job that I was doing. I was working in our on our F&B side, and I had not become part of the project that I was mentioning you in Calgary. So it was a little interlude.
okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
But then you came back.
I came back. I came back. And that's when I felt like, oh, okay, there would be room for me. And then this would be something I would like to do. And it was a big detour when you think about that. But I think it paid off in the end. It really contributed to helping me become the person I am today. And it was really helpful.
Do you still have a red telephone in your office where you call your mom or your dad sometimes and, run some things past them?
So I think I speak to Christian 4 times a day. It's not a red telephone. It's a speed dial. So we're very close. Same with my uncle. Um, they're both still very involved in the business, and they choose the way they wish to be involved, which I think is the right way to go about this. They have their kind of pet projects that they really love, and that they not only love but also contribute in a very positive way. So both Hugo and I are really happy that they are they're still involved in their own capacity.
As you were observing them, and I'm really interested to talk about sort of leadership and leadership style. As you were observing them, what was maybe one trait that you said, "Oh, I want to do the same," or "I want to"?
Mhm.
I really like what they're doing, and I want to make sure I continue that legacy.
They both have a great sense of detail and attention to detail, and they both have a different way to display that sense of detail. So, like Jean-Yves, my uncle, he will be able to zoom in on a certain situation, and he's got that capacity to stop everything and ask the question you never thought anyone would ask. So he's really able to bring that value and to get you thinking on some of the things you may have not thought about. And Christiane, she just sees everything. Like she walks into a place, and right away she knows what doesn't work, what needs to be fixed, so they really have a strong sense of attention to detail that for sure is important to continue, because I think it makes all the difference.
That's amazing. Is there something you'd like to change, like, or what do you add, let's say, to that?
I think to that, what's important is that both Hugo and I are extremely complementary to one another, but in a different way than our parents were complementary. And I think moving forward, it's very important that that's like, we're not trying to be a mini Jean-Yves and a mini Christiane. We're our own individuals. So, but knowing our strengths is also very important moving forward in this partnership. So it's not something I want to do different. It's just, I want to be me, and I wish the same for Hugo moving forward, and that we find where our strengths are intersecting.
How would you describe your strengths? And this is not an interview, clearly, but I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know that that's a strength, but it's just something I've kind of recently picked up on. I strive in chaos,
Nice.
and because sometimes there are a lot of things happening. And Christiane, very early on, she's taught me that balance and trying to do it all. Well, first of all, you can't do it all, but balance is not something that happens in a 24-hour period. And then being a mother, being all the different hats that, I try to be, at some point it's like, how am I going to get through the day? How am I going to get through the week? And then just understanding that the balance will come. There are moments in life when it's not perfect, but then there are other times when it is. So it's just a matter of finding your own rhythm. And yeah, I don't panic when there's a lot of chaos around. It's like, okay, no, we'll get through it. And so I think that's important to recognize that and not always try to quiet down the noise, but more like embrace it.
So you embrace it, you remain calm, I assume?
Yeah.
Do you seek chaos?
Sometimes I wonder if I maybe, but no, it's more about like, I don't panic. I know I'm going to get through it.
Yeah. You mentioned Vancouver. Clearly, you're expanding. You recently got some funding, or a while ago, you got some additional funding.
Yes.
How do you balance, I guess, expansion with, keeping the brand, I guess, what it is?
I love that. I love that question, Sebastian, because it's so important to us, and its culture is very key in what we do. And when I say culture, I mean doing things à la Germain and welcoming people the way we do and caring about people. And this is what we say we do. Like, our job is to welcome people. And I find sometimes in hospitality, it happens that we kind of lose sight of that. So to me, this is something is really up there in the priority of what we do. And now it's going to be Vancouver. We're at 20 properties in 2026. But we have been growing quicker in the past. So I worked on this project when I did my master's, because I wanted to talk about culture and how we would be able to maintain our culture as we were expanding. So there was a lot of work that went behind defining the culture, and that happened, I want to say, like 10 years ago. And of course, our culture has evolved since, and there's things that we did that we don't do anymore, and that we do differently. But knowing, for our employees when they come and join our company, our colleagues, and knowing the culture and why we do things, and making sure that people can associate and connect with that is really important. So am I worried about opening Vancouver in a year and a half, 2 years? No, because I think we'll find the right people to join our team and to make sure we all sign up for the same reason.
So you're careful in expansion, I assume.
Yes. Yes, we're careful because we want to do projects where we have fun.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do projects that qui nous ressemblent, that fit with who we are. That's really important. It's not expansion at the cost of losing, that sense of hospitality. And we're motivated by the ambition to grow. And yes, maybe perhaps one day think of growing outside of Canada, but like, this is not our only driving force. It's to continue to do projects that fit with who we are, and where we have fun.
You mentioned staff immediately when we talked about Vancouver, right? How important it is to find the right people. Is the team, the local team in Vancouver that you're about to hire, or that you will hire at some point, are they the ones that will carry the culture forward?
Our people everyone is the one who's carrying the culture forward. And I mean, we're without our team, it's there's not much happening, as in our business. They are the ones who every day are in our 20 properties across Canada, welcoming our people. So it's all about finding the right people that are, excited to do what we do. And I think this is something that we've recently, or at least over the last 3-4 years, we've realized that, like, human connection and the value of what we do is really important. And we find more and more people wanting to come back to the hospitality industry because they love people.
Interesting. So we had this challenge post-COVID that everyone had left the industry, right? Not sure if it was the same for Germain Hotels, but reputation was not great in hospitality.
Yeah.
And you're seeing people wanting to come back?
Yeah, I'm seeing people wanting to come back because they find value in what we do. To be honest, I think young people have, they've realized that maybe working from home was not really the thing for them, that there is great value in what we do in hospitality. And I think it's part of their, yeah, I really feel that people have realized that this is what they want to do.
Nice. You went through an exercise you mentioned a few years ago to define the culture of Le Germain. How would you describe it?
Well, first, there are many ways that you can talk about culture. I think there are stories that we tell that represent who we are. And one story I like to share is about my grandfather, like how when he opened his corner store in 1955, he actually it was a corner store where you would get your paper. And then where he opened his corner store, the paper would be delivered the next day. And for him, it was impossible that he would own a corner store and that the paper would be delivered the next day. So he opened his corner store and he wanted to make sure that his customers would get the paper on the same day. And he was the first one to bring the soft ice cream machine in Quebec City. And so to me, those stories are really representing innovation and audacious in life and wanting to do things differently. So when we talk about our culture and we worked with our colleagues to find the values, like this is one of the values, how to be audacious and how to bring innovation to the conversation whilst being in an industry that's very traditional. I look at the mural in front of Le Germain Montreal, which I don't know if you've had a chance to see, but it's this amazing mural that was done by Canadian artist Michel Hougveld. It's 176 high on 18 stories, and the front of the building is painted, and it's called Dazzle My Heart. That was kind of edgy to go ahead and paint a mural in the middle of the pandemic and on a concrete facade. Like now people see it and they're like, yeah, obviously this was the thing to do, but move back a few years ago, we're like, oh, should we do it? Should we not? And to know that that idea actually came from people on our team, to me, is like better than the idea itself, like that's just really gratifying to see that 60 years, fast forward so many years, innovation is still part of what we do and who we are. So values are important. And speaking of culture, stories, anecdotes. So it's really about sharing those with our people. And like I said, making sure that people connect those. I think because ultimately our people are the ones making the difference. So yeah.
Nice. There is something to be said, and I'm going to out myself as a fan. I've stayed in a few Le Germain hotels, most recently in La Malbaie, and I do, unfortunately, I guess for my kids, travel. Maybe now as they're approaching adolescence, they're probably happy if I'm away sometimes. But anyway, every time I'm staying in the Le Germain hotels, I notice that you're doing something different, right? That there is some little things that make it somewhat unique. And it's refreshing. It is really refreshing. And it sort of goes to show that you are an independent hotel brand still, even though you're 20 hotels, but you seek to be different. You seek to be innovative. The mural outside of your building in Montreal, I guess everyone has driven by and said, what is this? Right? It's quite impactful. And I've seen it a few times and it's great, but it's refreshing.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, yeah. And again, it's a fine line between the innovation and delivering the service and delivering on the promise. So there's it's an everyday challenge. It's really, hospitality. I don't need to, give you any lessons on that, but it's operations. Every day something will happen that you did not plan. So it's it's a great team effort.
Marie-Pierre, you must have received at least one or two phone calls from either Paris or Washington, D.C., from a hotel corporation or a major hotel chain that has said, join our, partnership, our soft brand, etc. Because they do offer loyalty programs, access to, I guess, distribution and the customer base. Why haven't you joined, one of the major hotel corporations, at least to the state, while remaining an independent Canadian hotel brand?
I think we take great pride in being Canadian, independently owned, soon coast to coast. And really, I think this is one of our founding value to be Canadian. We do have investors in our family that, come from outside of Canada, but they're a very small portion. And so to be honest, like, then what? Like, I guess we would all be out of jobs. I still love what I do, and I'm really motivated by what we bring in our contribution and elevating our brand and elevating our company. And I mean, I don't know what the future will bring. I can't speak about that, but it's not something that we've entertained so far. So, and yeah, I see other brands go through that process. And I can't say that they have done super well at maintaining their brand identity and agility. And this is something that I'm really proud of.
Okay.
I think it would change the narrative a little bit, don't you? You're the one asking the questions, but
No, I mean, look, I see, I see two observations. One is I see larger hotel corporation creating their own independent hotel brands. And I wonder why, right? Because in my head, it's like, it seems like a branded standardized hotel product is no longer attractive to the consumer, right? Because otherwise you would just continue having cookie cutter hospitality, right?
Mhm.
Where you have the same layout of bathroom, you have the same layout of hotel room, that have the same mattress everywhere, etc. And there were many successful hotel chains that developed with such strategies.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But then at the same time, it seems like customers are looking for that unique hotel experience that is somewhat different, that brings in the location of where you are, right? Where you're waking up and you realize you're in Paris or you're in Vancouver or you're, and there is this sort of experience of traveling again.
Yeah, and when I was earlier, you're asking me about, the kind of projects that sparked us is like, we want to have fun. And those are the things that you just mentioned that we have fun doing. I told you I'm an engineer by trade. Like, obviously, I enjoy working on the design and bringing the latest things to the table and elevating the experience. I have a lot of fun doing that. So I don't.
We don't want to take that away.
No, yeah.
You sounded very excited about Vancouver. I want to go back to your project in Vancouver. What can you share about this project already? And I'm sure a lot of it is still in the works, but you know the location, you know the building.
Yes.
What can we look forward to?
Amazing location. The convention center in Vancouver is on the water in Cole Harbor, and our building is, well, depending what kind of golf you play, but a long par 3 or a short par 5, like it's 2 blocks away.
Okay.
You can sit in your room and watch the border planes land.
Interesting.
Location is amazing. And what I love about that project is that we purchased an existing office building. And in the whole idea of converting buildings and gentrifying buildings, I find a lot of pleasure in doing that. So we're actually converting an office building where the floor plate is small enough that it can be converted into a hotel. Because as you convert office space, if the floor plate's too big, then you end up with hotel rooms with no windows, which kind of does not work in a hotel. So the floor plate is actually very boutique, which makes it a perfect conversion from office to hotel. And so that will be really exciting. And the building is built in 1967. So same year as the Germain in Montreal, which has a lot of that brutalist kind of architecture. So that is also something that will be exciting to bring into the design perspective.
And I assume it will have a fantastic restaurant or some food and beverage that stands out.
Yes, and it's a short building, so we're actually looking to do something very cool on the rooftop.
Okay.
Stay tuned for more.
You may need, I don't know, umbrellas or something, because I hear it does rain in Vancouver quite often.
Yeah,
It's a
we'll plan for that. You'll be comfortable.
excellent, excellent. I want to ask a few quick fire questions,
Mhm.
right? And the way this works is, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just going to throw things at you and you go as quickly as possible. No pressure whatsoever. And then I want to wrap us up talking about sustainability and luxury, which is, something that you're very passionate about as well. So what's harder, maintaining standards or maintaining culture?
I have to go quick. I don't like standards, so I want to say culture.
One hotel that changed your perspective on hospitality.
The Aman Hotel in Ubud in Bali, which I have to give you context. Am I allowed to give you context, or it have to be quick?
Please.
No,
Please,
so,
let's go.
like-
Let's go to Bali.
Then you'll know how old I am. But this was many, many years ago. I was about 18 or 19 years old backpacking. And my mother joined me in Bali for a few days. So I have been on a one load of laundry for many weeks. And then
That's quite the contrast. Yes.
then we had one or two nights at this amazing Aman Hotel. And I just thought this really changed my perspective on hospitality at that point.
Okay. Now I have to double click. Why? Why has it changed your perspective?
Oh, that whole sense of taking care of people and having every detail thought out, and going from staying in hostels to this very luxurious experience. It was the first time I was really exposed to that level of lux, so of luxury. I was, it really imprinted an image.
It's very funny. I had a similar experience right next door at the Four Seasons Siam.
And you still remember?
I still remember it. I still remember. But I was a student at that time, so maybe a few years older than you. Similar budget.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And you know what I actually liked also was how they really played out their culture. And this was, like 30, I don't know, I forget how old I am. But anyway, like 20 years ago. And we didn't talk about culture the way we do now, but when you were there, you knew you were in Ubud. It was in everything you felt, you smelled, the attention to detail. That was it was really powerful, even a few years back.
And it's all inundating, right? You see the rice fields, you hear the noise,
Yes.
It's the heat, it's the smell, it's everything.
And it's part of the experience, and it's 360.
I'm failing completely at this quick.
Okay, go.
All right,
Go.
let's come back to the next one. First thing you notice when entering a hotel.
Smell.
Okay. One luxury trend you secretly hope disappears.
Or I want to see more of less is more. So how this whole showing off thing and the need of people to display everything, when I find that less is really more. And what I mean by that is the bucket list thing is well, can you enjoy what's happening right now? Can we appreciate what we have in the moment now, and also less people, less, less consumption, we try to welcome people with showering them with things. It's no, just, can we first ask, or can we just be listening to what people are really looking for rather than throwing things at them?
So less is more.
Less is more.
And less is more luxury, if you will.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Most underrated hotel amenity.
Most underrated hotel amenity would be attention to ergonomic design.
Give me an example.
Plugs in the room where they locate.
The wrong height or in the wrong location?
Yes.
Both?
I find that to be very underrated. And sometimes people, when they plan out spaces, they don't think about where things are going to go. And there's small details, but when you do them wrong, they cost a lot to fix.
One thing guests value more today than they did 5 years ago.
People. ESG also.
Okay, wait. What is ESG and what is sorry. Okay. People first.
So
let's go people first.
Let's go people first. I find that one thing we realized as a society is that we're social animals and that we need each other and we feed off of each other. And I don't think this was as clear to people a few years back. I don't know how we call this pre-2020 period, but people, they came back to visit, they wanted to get outside, they wanted to meet, and I think this is something that has changed. And the social, environmental aspects are something now that is taken for granted. People, our guests expect us to have made the right decisions more than
already.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you hope people feel when they leave a Germain hotel?
Oh.
And I recognize this may not be a quick fire question. This may be a longer question.
I really hope we succeeded at making them feel welcome. Yeah. And I understand like what I'm going to say is really kind of not in the clouds, but it's a big wish, like to feel like the connection was human, was authentic, but that's really what we aspire to, is that we don't treat people as numbers, that people, when they walk in, they feel like they were expected. Like those are kind of basic needs today, but it's not, like it takes a whole team of people to make that happen.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned sustainability. And you said at some point that it should be treated as a standard, not a luxury.
Yes.
Have we misunderstood the relationship between the two?
Oh, I think we're lucky in our company that this is something we're able to treat as a standard and as something that we plan out right from the beginning. When we start working on projects, we have the luxury to develop our hotels, to choose the locations, to plan out the design, to choose materials, to make all of those decisions ahead of time so that when we actually open the doors, a lot of these decisions have been made, have been taken into account. That's a luxury that we have as a company because we are involved from beginning to end. I don't think every brand has that possibility. So we're lucky that we're able to make that a statement and that we're able to make some of these decisions right from the beginning, such as geothermal heating and cooling systems. We opened our hotel in 2008 and we had drilled like 30 holes underneath the building to make room for geothermal wells. I mean, that was amazing. And when you think of operating the hotel in the long run and operating it for 15, 20, 25 years, you know that the payback will be there. If you're building the property to, quickly sell the building, it's a different perspective.
But do you put that on your, I guess, website that you use geothermal?
Sure.
I mean, sorry?
Yes, we do. And so unfortunately, not every property we're able to do it. But out of 20, I believe 11 properties have geothermal heating and cooling systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you see that customers are starting to react, engage?
Well, those are two things. Like I said, today, I think this is something that's now taken for granted, but and then I feel like I'm speaking from both sides of the mouth, but it's something that we like integrate and that we believe in. It's a decision that we've been making, a choice we've been making for even before ESG became a thing. I gave you the example of geothermal cooling systems, but we also brought the key card interrupter in the rooms when electricity was never a currency in Canada. It was in Europe, but not here. So now it's becoming more a thing people talk about, and dual flush toilets. But we've been making those choices for many, many years. Like, we challenge our suppliers that we want the soap bottles to be refillable. We started that again with the Alt brand in 2008, because before that, remember, you had the little soap bottles in the hotel rooms. And it's not a guest of ours that came and said, you should change that for refillable bottles. We're like, it doesn't make sense to throw out all of these bottles on a daily basis. It doesn't make sense. Also, we actually went to see our suppliers and we worked together with them. And ever since, it's an evolving project.
Yeah. Yeah. I did notice in one of my stays in Calgary, I think at the time at the Le Germain properties, you had these larger dispensers. And I think it was 15, 20 years ago. It was quite a novelty for a North American hotel.
Yeah.
For sure. You're also making an effort to source locally.
Yes.
Is that driven by sustainability or more by guest experience or like food experience, or both?
Both, plus fun factor.
Okay. What do you mean by fun factor?
Well, I take a lot of pride in working with local entrepreneurs, and those examples I gave you on sustainability can also carry over to local entrepreneurs. So it's really gratifying to develop a product and to help someone develop their business and help them elevate their product, So whether it's Ruby Brown that we worked with to develop the soap amenities, and I'm going to talk about Marie Saint-Pierre also. She doesn't need us to build her business, but this was also a fun project to do all of our uniforms with her. So we have these projects that really, they're fun to work with, and they also bring fun to the equation. It's important.
So fun is important, but sustainability and I guess showcasing local artistry.
Yes, local artists. I talked to you about Michel Hoogveld, who is a Canadian artist, but I think it's really important when we have the opportunity to showcase our talent to do so. Like, we have a responsibility as a showcase to do so. And also food-wise, there are amazing products that we have here that we have the responsibility to bring forward and bring to the table.
Okay. You mentioned Ubud, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Amman Hotel. I'm more curious more recently, where do you find inspiration? Because clearly you're constantly innovating, seeking for a better way, right, in hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
So more recently, where do you find inspiration or ideas?
Yeah, so I told you about the crazy life at this time with the kids, and so I wish I had more time to travel, and it's maybe the one thing in my life where I'm like, ugh. So I rely on people that do travel and do have more time to do so, but no, we have a lot of people around us who inspire us on a daily basis and bring back ideas, and it's really important that we keep ourselves kind of connected with whatever's happening out there and new products, and always be on it's setting that mindset, to have that explorer mindset where you're always curious about what's happening and what are new and interesting trends out there.
Yeah. You talked about the challenges of, raising family, but you're also involved in a charity or Mère avec Pouvoir.
Yes, it's a great charity. Great cause. We supported both Christiane and I this year. They help women that are, I'm looking for the word in English, but solo parental, not just
single mothers,
but single, like meaning there's no other support. Like you're really on your own kind of thing. And this, I don't mind sharing this story because we we talked about it when we supported the cause, but my mother also raised me on her own. So when we found out about this cause that they've been operating for many years, but we felt very connected to supporting the cause. So they do wonders. Like all the women live together in a community and they have access to different services to help the mothers actually go back to school. And there's daycare for the children, and it really changes their trajectory in a positive sense. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
In Montreal
in Montreal.
In Montreal. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Before we wrap up, I do want to, I guess, I have two more questions for you. One is around, you alluded that at some point you may be going outside of Canada for projects.
I did say that, eh? That will follow me after I'll get in trouble.
I just paid attention. I don't want you to disclose anything you're not comfortable with, but let's stay on brand.
Mhm.
What would be a destination that you would think would fit well with the Le Germain brand?
So I'm
Clearly,
not
we're very
gonna-
passionate about Vancouver, right?
Yes.
So closing the sort of the gap between East and West.
Okay, so I'm not going to answer your question specifically because I will get into trouble.
Okay.
But what I will say is that I think there are, and you do what you want with my answer, how you interpret it. But I think there are markets that our brand would really be well suited, different countries or where there is a fit. And I think before our interest for growth was really to be a Canadian brand and be established coast to coast. And I think soon, well, not I think, I mean, Vancouver is really happening and will no longer be a thing of the past. So I think it would be interesting to do a pilot project at some point to see if we could take our brand to another market. And there are a few that could work.
Without wanting to lead the witness, you know that the famous Montreal pizza place that my kids love a lot, which is 900,
Yes.
recently opened a, I guess, store in Lyon, France. Not that I want to, lead you in any directions, but I thought that was an interesting fun fact.
Well, I'm learning something today, Sebastian. Thank you. But that's also a great brand. They really managed to grow and keep their culture intact. It's a fun place to visit for sure.
Yeah. When you have your, I guess, mother's legacy, you're now president. When you fast forward, and it's sort of my closing question, when you fast forward 20 years from today, sorry.
That's okay. I'm with you.
I don't know how long you want to do this, but you seem to be having a lot of fun. And when you fast forward to you giving, I guess, the legacy to the next president of Le Germain Hotel, what would you want to have accomplished? What do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah.
Is, I guess, another way of positioning.
I'm really into and this is something we're asked a lot, or not asked, but people they kind of go, "Ooh, third generation, good luck," because not so many companies make it that far, and not many families manage to pass on to the next generation. And I think I kind of want to look at it the other way around, where not many companies make it past 10 years, and we're already, almost celebrating 40 years. So I think it's amazing that we've made it so far and that our company is strong. And this is the legacy I want for the company, is to keep growing, but also keep the company strong and alive and true to itself, whether we talk about generations but more about pérennité, what's that word in English?
Réalité?
Pérennité. So that it stays.
I don't even know. I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank right now. Pérennité.
Yeah, so that the company stays alive for a long time. It continues to it survives time,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It has a certain resilience, and it has a. We'll look it up. We'll
yeah, you
put it
look it
in
up and then
subtitle.
you
We'll,
can
we'll, we'll find the exact
figure
word.
it.
I feel like we're not doing it justice. But so that is it. That's your legacy, keeping it.
Well, you know, we could have done this this interview on artificial intelligence and distribution and what's happening for the future of our own hotel distribution, because there's a lot to be said about that. And
Yeah.
just to stay ahead of that is very challenging. And you know, no one knows today what it will be like in a year. So when you stop and look at that, I think it can be a bit daunting. But I prefer to see past this. And I think, to me, the legacy is to continue to welcome people and to do the things we do well, and to bring value, whether it's, you know, local entrepreneurs. And when you travel to our hotels, you feel like you're at Le Germain. You know, we've managed to keep this brand alive and to bring more cool experiences, because you also, you know, you talked about the restaurant that your kids like to go to, but the whole F&B experience is also something people look for when they travel now. Like, it's not just a nice, comfortable bed. So we have a lot to work on just to keep that company where it is today and continue to take care of our people and welcome them.
I thought it was refreshing not to talk about AI for a minute. I thank you so much for your time, for your insights, for sharing unfiltered, you know, your opinion and what you're working on. So really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining the program.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for welcoming me.
Thank you for listening. If you like what you're hearing, make sure you subscribe to avoid missing the next episode. It helps us produce better shows and get the most interesting guests. Thank you for your support.